To May 1st, Middleton School Committee, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. Can we have introductions from the audience, please?
Carolyn Goldstein, third grade teacher, Helmet.
Kristen Levangie, second grade teacher, Willamette.
Mike Searles, State Rep Ted Spiliotis' office.
Marianne Ney, representative of Senator Bruce Tarr.
John Russo, Troop 19, Middleton.
Lee Russo, parent.
Adam Karras, proud husband.
Jason Karras, son. Danny Karras, son.
Say proud son.
Wow,
Proud
yay.
son. Exactly.
Great, thank you all for coming. Any remarks from our public?
So we do have some remarks
Okay.
from our public. So we have Mike from Ted Spiliotis' office, and as he introduced himself, and we have Marianne Ney from Senator Tarr's office as well. Who are here to make presentations in honor of Mark and Amy, as it is their last school committee meeting after 6 years. So Mike, I'll turn it over to you first.
Certainly.
Great.
I'd like to call up Amy, if I may. What's the best way to do this? Great.
Yeah, it's
All
funny,
right.
can't
On behalf
use
of
the mic.
Representative Spiliotis and Representative Brad Jones, they've created this citation in honor of your commitment to the town of Middleton. I'll read it. Be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Amy Karras in recognition of your 6 years of hard work and dedicated service to the Middleton School Committee. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope of future good fortune and continued success in all your endeavors.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's great. Sure. Might as well stay up here. Okay. So as we all know, volunteerism is huge, and especially volunteering for our school committee and our children to help, pay the years. Thank you so much. On behalf of Senator Tarr, we have here from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and it's a state Senate official citation. Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Amy Karras in recognition of your dedicated service and commitment to the Middleton School Committee. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success, that this citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate and attested to, and a copy thereof transmitted by the Clerk of the Senate. It is signed by the President of the Senate, Karen E. Spilka, and it's attested by the Clerk of the Senate, Michael D. Hurley. It's offered by our state senator, Bruce E. Tarr, on this day of May 1st, 2019. Congratulations. We really appreciate your time.
Mr. Moreski.
Oh, boy.
Why is he staying open? Will you do that for me, Freddie, with one of those?
You want me to get you the video?
Yeah, yeah.
We can put it on Facebook.
Is my hair okay?
It looks great, buddy.
Thank you. You don't have to video it, I was kidding.
No, this is going.
And Mark, the representative says hello. He had a great time learning a little bit more about your street last summer with a culvert collapse.
Yeah.
And we spent some time there on North Liberty. So I met you, your neighbors.
Yeah.
Anyhow, be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Mark Moreski in recognition of your 6 years of hard work and dedicated service to the Middleton School Committee. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses hope for your future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors. It is offered on behalf of Representative Spiliotis and Representative Jones.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's my turn now. And again, we walked down the hallway together.
Yes.
Actually, I didn't even realize you were Mark. So this is from Senator Bruce Tarr, again, and the Senate, and it's an official citation. And be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Mark Mareschi. Mareschi. Okay, there we go. In recognition of your dedicated service and commitment to the Middleton School Committee. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success, that this citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate and attested to, and a copy thereof transmitted by the Clerk of the Senate. Signed by Karen E. Spilka, the President of the Senate. It's attested by the Clerk of the Senate, Michael D. Hurley, and it is offered by our State Senator Bruce E. Tarr on this date, May 1st, 2019. Congratulations. Thank you for all your work and your volunteering. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
It's coming, it's coming.
So Amy and Mark, two citations as well, or two plaques rather, from the Massachusetts Association of School Committees. So Amy, this plaque is for you from the Mass Association of School Committee for serving as a member of the Middleton School Committee and also serving as a member of the Tri-Town School Union Committee from 2013 to 2019. So I'll hand that to you in 1 second.
Thank you.
And then also Mark Mareschi as well, serving as a member of the Tri-Town School Union Committee and serving as a member of the Middleton School Committee 2013 to 2019. And these are both from the Massachusetts Association of School Committees, MASC, your organization, your professional organization. Just as superintendent, just, words to both of you. You was thinking about driving over here. You guys are both bridges to the past, right? You have seen transitions in leadership in the Tri-Town over the course of your tenure here. You've seen a lot of great change happen over the course of your tenure here in the Tri-Town. And when I think about your service on this committee and also on the Tri-Town School Unit Committee, you take a lot of institutional knowledge and a lot of institutional memory with you, and that will be greatly missed by, certainly all of us around the table. Mark, your care and concern for the safety of our kids and all the work we've done around that, your good humor, sense of humor that you bring to the meetings as well. You make them light when sometimes we get into, those tense moments. You always have a way to bring us back to reality in a good way, so we appreciate that. Amy, for you as well, your sense of commitment to the kids, your availability all the time as chair. You and I have had an opportunity to really get to know each other through that process, and your ability to always be there to listen and hear the different things that we're working on are very, very much appreciated. So with heartfelt thanks from the school administrative team for all the work that you've done, please know that we really appreciate everything you've done for us for the past 6 years. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Amy, thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Anything you want to say?
You can go first. You?
You've got some history.
Mr. Greenberg.
What? I know Scott said it quite eloquently, and the thing that resonates with me, you talk about change, what you've seen, but you've implemented change. You've brought a lot of positive change, and I've had a lot of fun. This committee's been fantastic. I've enjoyed my time working with you guys, and I'm very grateful. So congratulations, and now that you're not here, I'll probably take your bus stops or something, but thank you guys very much. It's been a privilege, and really, really appreciate everything you do.
Don't take the bus stop.
Feel the love.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
And then,
Thank you.
any words you guys would like to say, certainly?
It's been a real pleasure working with all of you and getting to know you all and the ins and outs of the schools. I've really enjoyed this experience. I always like kind of working at things from behind the scenes and learning how we get to a place, but the full transparency and the knowledge that I'm taking away with this is invaluable. And I've made some really, really nice connections and friendships along the way too, so that's been a bonus. So thank you all.
I guess I would say I've been honored, proud to be a part of this, and I think we're in really great shape. We've come a long ways. The change in leadership has been excellent. I think it's left our town in the best shape it's been in since we've been here, and looking forward to see where you all take this. And I feel really strongly about the things we worked on, the safety and some of the special programs we worked on with Matt, and I think it's heading in a great direction. I'm proud to have been a little part of it, but it's nothing any of us did alone. It was all a group, and I think we all got along really well and worked well together as a team. And I look forward to seeing where you all go from here with the new members.
Thanks,
Thank
Mark.
you.
Yeah, and I think Mary Ann really said it best around, the volunteer hours. I don't think people really understand when you get on a school committee or a board of selectmen or a FinCom or anything that works within town government. It's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort, and it's a lot of energy that people give, and it doesn't go unappreciated by the folks who get to work with you every single day. So it's very, very much appreciated. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad to be a part of it.
Steve, I'm thinking meeting adjourned.
We can table that.
Second.
Matt, can you pass me that agenda that I left down there? Thank you
Thanks.
very much for coming.
Thank you.
All right.
Adam, if you see Mason and Gavin in the parking lot, you can tell them that we have it on video.
John, do you want to come up next? I know you had some remarks as well, something to share with us.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for letting me be here today for the school committee. I'm doing a little progress report on my Eagle project. I know I presented this a year ago. It's been a year to this day, and I'd like to just talk about what's been going on. So last time I told you that I cleaned out the site and we got all the equipment removed, but now we've finally broken ground and poured the footings for concrete footings for the benches, and they're all set in right now. They're curing right now, and this Saturday we're going to see if we're going to drill in the benches and put them permanently into the footings. So the project's been going along pretty well. It's almost halfway done, and around the end of May to mid-June, I want to start putting in the mulch and getting this project done, because I really want to get it done before the summer. So yeah, so the project's been going really well, and I'm definitely ahead of schedule, so I really am happy with the progress of this project, and I feel like it's going to be great when it turns out great at the end of the year, or the end of the school year. So that's my little progress report, and
Great.
any questions if I can answer for you about it, if anybody has any questions.
John, what grade are you in again?
I'm a junior right now.
Junior
I
right
am
now.
finishing my junior year, yes.
Congratulations
So,
on that.
thank you.
How was your year?
Year is pretty good. Yes, it was a lot of things to do. Very busy, and of course, doing an Eagle project, it was really busy.
Sure.
Yeah.
And how many hours do you think that will be total by the time you're?
Total hours for the project, total work hours has to exceed 200 hours.
Okay.
And that's along with everybody else's help, with my Eagle project coach and all the Boy Scouts in the troop, and a lot of the adults that help out. So, and they've been giving me a lot of support. I've gotten a lot of support from the troops. So.
You
and
managed 200 volunteer hours along with your schoolwork.
Yes.
So it sounds
along.
to me like you're ready for a school committee run. What do you think?
Well, maybe.
It's about right.
We'll
It's about
see.
200
We'll see.
hours on top of.
Maybe if I'm a little older,
Okay.
we'll see. Yeah. But yeah, so the project's been going along pretty
That's
well,
good
so
to
I'm
hear.
very happy with it.
And do you want to come back at the June meeting? Do you think you'll have another update then, or would you
Sure,
rather
I'll
wait
have
for the fall?
I'll have an update when the project's when I don't know, maybe in the fall, maybe once the project's done. We'll see what happens
Okay.
at that time. But I'm really pushing for June to have this project done.
Okay, perfect. Well, we'll get you back on the agenda. We'll talk to Ms. Guerrero.
Of course,
and-
well, thank you,
And Mr.
yes.
Clifford, and we'll have you come back and give
Yes.
us a final update.
Yes, of course, thank you.
That's great.
Great job staying ahead of schedule with the weather.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, yes. That was a problem with with putting in the footings. We wanted to do them in October, but the weather got bad, so unfortunately we had to push it to April. And this April vacation, we put them in, and they're outside right now curing. So we're pretty much fully ahead of schedule. So I'm very happy.
If I could just add, pretty sure John started Boy Scouts the same year my older son Mason did.
Right, we were in the same den, you were den leader,
I
of
was
course.
the leader. And quick story, when I first started, we didn't wear uniform shirts, and quickly we were told we really had to. And in 3 or 4
My
meetings.
father was not happy with that.
Yeah. Neither was I at the time. But
Yeah.
when I first put my shirt on, my son Mason said, "Oh, you're one of them. You're like a leader." I have been. He didn't recognize it until I was wearing the uniform.
Yeah.
So, but I'm proud to see where John has gotten
Thank you.
himself. It's Boy Scouts is a really driven group of kids that do it on their own, and they're really taught a lot of structure, but they're
And
supported
not a lot
by
of Boy Scouts become Eagle Scouts, too. It's
Yeah,
a very
yeah.
small
Right.
percentage.
the group of kids that we started with. I think there's only a couple of them that are still there, right?
I think it's just me and another kid, so.
Right. Yeah. it's-
Yeah.
So I'm very proud of you, anyway.
Yes, well, thank you, Mr. Mareski, thank you.
Big support from his parents too. His parents were both. Well, you were on some campouts. We were on the Battleship Cove and
Museum of Science,
Museum of Science. Yeah, with several hundred other
maybe a
people
few
sleeping
American
on the
Legion
floor.
camporees, those things. And-
Our den got to sleep underneath the Tyrannosaurus Rex in the Museum of Science.
Oh, that was fun, yeah, I
Which is
remember that.
better than the Mystery of Life booth.
Yeah, I think it would be. Exactly.
We were
Yeah.
thankful not to be. So. Anyway,
Right.
John, I'm proud of you. Very good
Thank you,
job.
Mr. Mareski.
Keep it up.
Thank you. Yes, I will keep it up.
He's serious.
Great.
This is our last meeting, so you're.
Of course.
Yeah, you're next.
Don't
You
worry, I
run.
will get it done.
All right.
Thank you, John.
All right.
Thanks
Yes,
for coming
thank you so
in,
much.
sharing.
Take care.
Thanks for coming.
Safety cabinet?
Yep, just a quick report from there. Just 2 quick items in the drive. I was asked to present at Middlesex Partnership for Youth Conference on school safety and leading during a crisis, and I just threw the presentation there. We don't need to go through it now, but it's just more for your FYI. More interesting, I guess, and more maybe connected to future work for us within the Tri-Town. As a result of that meeting, when I had finished presenting that day, there was a gentleman there from like a corporate security facility. And at the end of the meeting, he stopped me and asked if I had a minute to talk, so we had a minute to talk. He had been arranging a meeting with the Secret Service office in Boston. The Secret Service, I guess, is trying to figure out ways in which they can further help schools maintain, high levels of safety with like a threat assessment model. And he thought, as a result of this presentation, it'd be great to have a superintendent perspective at that meeting. And so last Wednesday, I was in the Secret Service office in Boston. I didn't even know there was one in Boston. And that was certainly a different experience. There were FBI folks in the room and on the phone, and Secret Service people and Homeland Security as well. And it was just a conversation around, what are the things that we currently have in our schools around school safety? What are the things that we're currently doing? I think it was somewhat eye-opening for them in terms of like how much this does have our attention. I think there was maybe a sense that this might have been something that was newer in terms of what was happening in the schools. And so I was able to share the perspective that we have been focused on in the Tri-Town over the course of the past couple of years. There's been some emails back and forth. My understanding is that'll probably lead to another meeting. But I think their model is, how do you develop a threat assessment model in a school? So you figure like Secret Service, they're dealing with threats all the time, and they have to assess them and say, do we run this up the chain? Is it something that's, not a threat, or whatever the case may be? And I think thinking about how can we take our school crisis leadership teams, our mental health teams, and kind of, give them that training as well around threat assessment within our schools. And again, threat assessment is not always, the worst case scenario. It's not the unthinkable that we see happening in the news. A threat assessment could be something simple as someone smells some gas, right? And that could be a threat assessment. Now we need to investigate. And as a result of that threat assessment, what do we do to take action? So it was just a different kind of a meeting, not something that, those aren't circles that you typically roll in as a superintendent, but it was interesting to hear their perspective and interesting to hear their feedback on some of the things that we were doing. So more to come on that. If that continues, I'll be happy to share that with the committee.
Did you get a tour of the building?
No, but I'll tell you this, it was harder to get in the building than get to like airport security. You know what I mean? It was like,
Sure.
yeah, it was very interesting entrance into the building, and just it's like layer upon layer upon layer just to get into the room. So yeah, that was interesting in and of itself, but good experience.
Good.
And good connections for us to have, I think, as a Tri-Town.
Yeah. Great, thank you.
For sure.
Sure.
The last thing under routines is approval of our meeting minutes from April, which are in the drive.
So as you read about the bus update, that did not work out as planned in terms of our colleague or friend from the senior center. They had, I think, a good meeting with James and Diane, and we're coming up to Central. And then, for reasons unknown, it just didn't work out. And so we're still in the process, I think, of trying to figure out Plan B. We've been doing Plan B now. I feel like we're on Plan F.
I mean, we've approached our staffs. We've advertised on School Spring. A couple of times we take the posting down and put it back up to freshen it up again, and just, we haven't advanced it very far.
It's disappointing.
With that said, has the pace of activity on that bus lessened?
From what I hear at my school,
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything from
Great.
that one situation.
Okay.
That's good.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Christy or Mark, do I have a second? Or you need more time?
It's gonna be
Do
Mark.
you need more time?
No, I'm good. Second.
Oh, okay. All
Oh,
in
you got it,
favor?
okay.
Christie wasn't.
I wasn't there, so.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay, reports of the superintendent.
Yep, just a couple quick updates from me. I'll just start at the bottom. These are just some reminders. June 14th, last day of school, which is a Friday. I'm confident that we will have no more snow days between now and then. I know, I shouldn't have said that, Mark. Don't put that in the minutes, Courtney. May 14th is town meeting.
Who's knocking on wood over here?
Exactly, exactly. And that is also a Boxer town meeting, so Steve and I will be split that day. We'll figure out where we'll be, and I don't know, Amy, is there a presentation that night for schools? I mean, we don't have anything
No,
override-wise, or, so, I know in some years we've
The
had to go up
agenda
and.
says school committee, it says presentations and it lists school
Okay.
committee. So
Okay.
I think last year I just said like an introduction, like an
Like a thank
overview,
you,
the
yeah,
thank you,
thank you to the
and sort of
community.
where our budget's headed,
Okay,
which I was thinking I would do
Yeah, I
again.
think that's a good idea.
But, I don't know, unless you guys think, I don't think we need a formal presentation this year. Unless you think it's good, just for the town to,
I think it'd be good for Steve to maybe, what do you
I
think?
can do a little song.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a little.
yes, that'd be great.
Fine. You want it? You got it. Should've seen me last night.
He did great.
The professor hat on.
Exactly. So, yeah, we will split, and once we kind of figure out, we'll talk with Amy and we'll talk with Carol and figure out how we want to handle that.
Okay.
Okay. Masco senior visit, this was tremendous. Actually, if you go into the folder in the drive that reads Masco visit, there are some pictures in there for you to scroll through while I briefly talk about this. So this was an idea that germinated from Pete Delaney. Pete, as you know, is the high school principal. We meet regularly as a K-12 leadership team, the principals in the central office from Tri-Town and the principals in central office from Masco. And Pete thought, how great would it be if we had the seniors come back to their home elementary schools to visit right before they go out on their internships. And I can tell you, I was at Cole that day. I was able to run over from Central, and it was very, very, very powerful. A bus pulled up here with kids from Middleton, a bus pulled up to Fuller with kids from Middleton, and then the same in the other two towns. 6 buses all donated from NRT. It was really a nice community effort. And the kids rolled in, and just to see the reactions on the high school seniors' faces when they walked back into their elementary schools was priceless. And then to see the connections with our kids to the high school kids was priceless. And the walking around the buildings and just making the connections, it was very, very powerful. I don't know if you guys want to quickly just share some of your observations from your classrooms that you saw that day.
It was fabulous. The kids asked questions, so we had them write up a few questions in advance, and their questions were fabulous.
That's great. What were some of them? Do you remember?
What was, your favorite memory from elementary school, or knowing now what you didn't know back then?
Oh, wow.
What would you change? So they really had some great questions, and the kids that answered them were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
honest and just talking about not just school, but friendships and the balance of everything, which is nice for younger kids to hear, so.
Totally.
It really was. And we did the same thing in our school, and then they actually even went and played recess with the
That's great.
kids.
Yeah.
And that was really cute. Some classrooms made pennants, and they were waving them in the hallway. And it was, in the hallway, as they were leaving, when we were clapping them out, it was emotional. I mean, it really was, I didn't realize how impactful it would be.
Absolutely.
And
I've heard so many people say that. And like, I saw a lot of people in tears.
Yes.
Like there were a lot of, emotional, teary reactions because it was very, very powerful.
and to see how they have grown, it was just
And too, we
special.
took pictures out from when we had them in third grade, so we posted them on
Oh, my goodness.
doors when they walked in, they searched
Oh, they
for
must have loved it.
themselves, and they loved it.
That's a good
This
idea.
is the first time we've done this, right?
Yes. Yeah. That's funny. I remember you guys were obviously on the first interview committee when I came through, and I remember very clearly from that committee, one of the things was we have to figure out ways to, ratchet together the Tri-Town and Masco, and that's
Yes.
always, we've taken that seriously since then, and again, this was Pete's idea, not ours, but talk about a great way to ratchet together the Tri-Town in the elementaries, in the high school. So,
There's some cute pictures of the seniors sitting in the little chairs.
yes,
They said, we didn't realize how small the school is.
yeah, we heard that a lot too. And the clap out was great, all the kids lining the hallways and clapping out. James, you want to share your perspective from a principal perspective?
Yeah, I mean, likewise with what everybody said, when we had over 50 seniors come to Hal Manning, and then so we kind of broke up the day into like little sections, well, the hour visit into little sections. So we assigned a couple kids to every single room throughout the building from preschool all the way through 6th grade, and they got into homerooms, they got into specials. You saw them like in the gymnasium, they were like actually playing, I think, floor hockey with the kids. But like Carolyn said, the kids asked them specific types of questions, and then the kids got to volunteer in the classrooms and kind of help out with the teachers. And then we set aside time at the end that they could kind of free visit around the building to see teachers that they didn't get to connect with based on whatever kind of schedule we had given them. And what was, I thought, very powerful was that I think we had to do like 3 or 4 last calls to get back on the bus because they were still visiting one more teacher, and they weren't getting back on the bus.
That's funny.
So even the high school chaperone teacher who was outside is like, I'm still missing 9 kids inside your building after we had like, been calling them to be outside because they kept going one more teacher. So I think they were really excited to reconnect with a lot of people and just get an opportunity to kind of be there with the younger students and kind of, answer questions and be there for them for part of their day.
It's probably just as good for the teachers as it is for the kids.
Oh, it
too.
was.
Mhm.
It was.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I always, and this is a horrible analogy, and I may have said this here before, and I don't think of school this way, but I'm just gonna say it because it works for this situation. If you think of school as an assembly line, and I don't think of it that way, but if you think of it that way, as kids roll through K1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and they roll off the Masco stage, on June 1st or whatever, elementary teachers never get to see the wrench turn that they make on that car, metaphorically, as it goes by them. You don't get to see the car roll off the line, and you guys got to see the car like just about what it's going to look like as it rolls off the line. And as the 2nd, 3rd, 1st grade, 5th grade teacher, you realize like, wow, those wrench turns I made, those are crucial in the development of the kids. And I think it was very powerful for our teachers to have that moment as much as the kids. So glad we did it, and it will definitely become an annual event within the Tri-Town.
Would you add anything or change anything to what happened from a teacher perspective or?
Felt that I had 2 students come in my room. One I had formally in 3rd grade, and the other student I did not. But they jumped right in and helped kids. We were making totem poles. They were creating symbols of things. We did a reading about totem poles and symbols of what meant things important to them in their life. So the kids sat with them and helped them come up with ideas, and they were typing in classrooms. So I wouldn't change anything. I thought it was like a perfect amount of time they were there. And I love that they just didn't come in and answer questions. They
Me
sat
too,
down and got
yeah.
hands-on with kids.
They worked with the kids.
Who needs help? And, half the kids maybe that didn't just wanted to talk with them a little more and just, so it was nice.
It's a great idea.
It was. Yep.
Was it coordinated so that kids that had gone through the school had got their teacher that they had?
Dr. Carrero had put out for our school an all-call, and one Friday afternoon, we just kind of went in there, and we went through the list. She had a list, but, and so we would say, like, we had. And then of those children that came through that morning, she was like, okay, so then she tried to make it so that we would have those children. And some who weren't able to go to, because they had other teachers, they then came
Sure.
afterwards.
I texted Pete later that day, and I just said, the elementary schools are buzzing. Thank you so much for the idea. And he said the high school's buzzing. The seniors came back just as charged up as we were. They came back, feeling the same way. So, kind of it's a nice way to do it.
Yeah.
It really is.
Great.
I actually came from a dentist appointment before I came to school committee tonight, and I bumped into a math school teacher at the dentist who was he teaches some senior sections too, and actually brought the event up to me and said that he was really surprised by how much the kids were buzzing about it when they got back to school that day.
Yeah, sure.
So all good. So we will continue. We will continue that. I think that will be how we do business moving forward.
Excellent.
Yeah, even expand on it a little
Yeah,
bit.
absolutely.
As it goes.
Yep.
Great. Cool, thank you.
No problem. NESDEC update. So this year, NESDEC offered a mid-year update. It's in the drive. It's the PDF that reads NESDEC 18 update. They did a mid-year update on numbers. I will say to you that, to save you the time of having to do the data comparison, everything that they put out in the fall for next year is still holding true. When I do the comparison between what they gave us back in the fall or early winter and now, I see some changes like in later years, like when you get out to like 23, 24, 25, 26, and so on and so forth. So I think just sort of massaging those numbers along the way. But this document will look, if you were to put the one that I gave you back in the late fall, early winter, next to this one for like 1920, where it reads 93 kids, 113, 80 from K all the way up through grade 6. It looks very much the same. We continue to always monitor our enrollment monthly anyway, but it was good to have NESDEC give us this just to see. I'm most interested in this in Boxford, of all places, just because Boxford has, 140 kids apparently showing up for kindergarten next year, and we only have like 100 registered, so we're all scratching our heads like, where are these other 42 coming from? So we're interested in this, and even on the mid-year one, they're still reporting 142, so we don't know where those kids would possibly be coming from. So in Middleton, though, it's what we saw earlier, no changes. So
Maybe there's some refugees coming from Somalia or something.
I don't know. It's that's a big number. That's almost
Private school?
2 classes. I don't
Could
know.
be
Maybe.
Private.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on it. And then a quick Empowered Brain update. We spoke about this at our last meeting. Matt gave an update on where we were with our training internally. I just wanted to share an update, and this is just, again, a nice reason for the Middleton Committee to be proud for having the foresight in the division to do something like this. I think I mentioned last time that a lot of other regions were interested in learning about the Google Glasses that we're using here in Middleton and that we're being trained on. And so Patrick Daly, who is the Assistant Superintendent in North Reading, Patrick leads the North Shore Curriculum Group. And I was talking to Patrick about these glasses. He and I were having a conversation about them, and he thought, wouldn't it be great if we, shared it widely with the North Shore folks. Those meetings are actually held here at Fuller Meadow. They need a space to meet, and Fuller Meadow has the PD Center down in the back there that has served as a great meeting spot for really the Tri-Town. But we're also able to share it with our colleagues regionally as well. And so they had that meeting here on 4/12. It was the Friday before April vacation. Members from all over the North Shore, every city and town on the North Shore, they had assistant superintendents and special ed directors. Masco sent a couple of people down too. And it was a presentation to those folks, but we also had a student join us that day for whom the glasses would be applicable for. And it was fascinating for, I think, the adults in the room to see how the glasses worked for a student to whom those glasses would be applicable for. And just to see the immediate tuning in, as a result of wearing those Google Glasses. So a lot of good feedback from that session. I think the folks at Empowered Brain are excited that, they're making some inroads into schools. And again, it's all really because of what happened at this meeting with the school committee being supportive of the idea, and it's continuing to ripple really across the North Shore. So thank you for being supportive of that.
That's great.
Matt, I don't know if you got any feedback on that meeting from anybody?
Yeah, it's just, it's created a sort of a buzz across different districts, especially our own districts, right? So I'm getting a lot of conversation from our other 2 towns.
Right.
To the point where, our goal was to have the foresight try it here. We had a group of students that we thought it would be incredibly applicable for. It's proving to do what we had hoped it would do, and then kind of take a look at our other towns and what needs we have. So I wouldn't be surprised if we expand as well over the next year or 2 years. But The trainer's coming back out again Friday. You know, the
Right.
teachers, I think, are also feeling as though one of the goals with it, and I think one of the goals is always with something like this, is you have to support the training and the support around it, or it very quickly can just be put on a shelf, right? If you try it a few times, it doesn't work, and you get frustrated and all that. So the brain power has been very responsive to questions and concerns and all of that. They get back to you within, you know, even a couple of hours. I think the teachers feel as though they're getting their questions answered and starting to use it in being able to expand the use of it. And so with with the trainer coming back out for another 3-hour block on Friday is just really moving it forward. So just exciting.
Is it being used primarily in one-on-one sessions or small
Yep.
groups yet?
Yep. It's pretty intended for one-on-one use.
Okay.
And so that's how it's working right now.
And are they bringing them home yet?
No.
No.
No, we're not gonna bridge that for a little while.
Okay.
You know, we always have conversations about equipment in general, any types of equipment that we purchase as a district, and kind of the responsibilities and where it falls and the homeschool continuum. And so eventually we could have those conversations. I wouldn't anticipate it anytime really soon. It's a very targeted program, and so it wouldn't, you know, for a while, the goal is that it's, you know, 10 to 15 minutes a day per student with a very directed, trained person who knows how to use it. So, you know, we'll see the results from that for a while, and we'll track the data, and then we'll start to talk about expanding it.
Great.
And that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Report of the Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operations. Good
That
evening.
one too. All right, good evening. Was included in the drive is the financial report. I know I called it for May, it's really April. Things are moving as we've been talking about throughout the year, and you'll see the numbers are starting to get a little tighter. And we're going through the process of reviewing all our encumbrances now, and just starting the process to prepare to close. And what I want to let the committee know is at this point in time, we'll be coming back to you in June and recommending, you know, that we will be closing the books, but when we get to that point, when we close the books, we will not be convening due to the summer schedule. And our usual path has been to authorize the superintendent to close the books. And the priorities at this time that I'm anticipating will be turning money back to the town and evaluating, you know, revolving accounts when we close those books. We to do in this fiscal year, and I think we've had a great fiscal year in that regard, and that's where we are at this point. And I think I tried to summarize what's been going on from the last point to this point, and I'll answer any questions that the committee may have.
So on the overview page, it has, like where we're currently at with
Yes.
the major categories.
What we've
So there's
expended, yeah.
Fuller Meadow gifts and the Hal Manning gifts.
Yes.
Are those what we had, those were the original, like, book orders and that, is that the money
That was
from
like,
there?
remember it
The
was student
gov-
activity,
yes.
and we moved the student activity into the gifts because with student activities, we're required to do certain auditing procedures, and
Yes.
we wanted to get away from that. And so we worked with the auditors, the auditors recommended us, said, yes, this is okay to do.
Right.
And that when we do move it to the gift account, that when the principals have something that they'd like to do by the students, for the students, that it comes to school committee for approval.
Right, it's great, so it's working.
Yeah, oh, it absolutely, it's just moving it and putting it in this place and getting it all transparent.
Good. Other questions?
Attaboy, Steve.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. The next piece is the food service report.
Throw these around pretty rapid.
Yeah, you want to click Tommy points. Yeah, you want to send them out. All right.
What's that?
Should I put them in, like I said, attaboy?
You
Count
said
'em.
during the meeting.
To remove it, but food service report
Yes.
is also included in the drive, and things are moving along. We will move forward with the renewal, and we'll get through the months of April, May, and June. You know, we've been investing in the program, And when we get to June, I'll have a more detailed report as far as how they've performed, the solvency piece, and what parts of it, how we've had an impact on the program with some changes that we've made. So that does mitigate some pieces of the contract, but I'll explain that in detail. Overall, we've done much better than we did last year. And we have to just have that discussion about, okay, where are we taking this program? And with decisions that we make, what impact does that have on the program itself? So we just want to go into it eyes wide open and understand all the moving parts as we get ready for year. Other questions with regard?
I have a comment unless anybody has a question.
So I think, if I'm reading it correctly,
Yes, ma'am.
the March, the difference with the receipts versus the expenses, we are slightly negative.
Christie, what's important for all of it, we have to look at a whole year. Because,
Agreed.
yeah,
I'm
because
just wondering if I'm reading it correctly.
you are, that expenses are slightly higher for March than the receipts. So that's why you see, are you talking about meals or dollars?
I'm looking at total receipts versus expenses.
Right, and,
Because, I mean, February was very, very different, right?
Yes.
And I know it levels throughout, there's
Right.
natural peaks and valleys.
and it doesn't go like meal for meal, it's timing. It's like, okay, when do we have to, it's like, just-in-time inventory, when our receipts receive, like if you buy 100 lunches, those receipts are posted, let's say in September, and they're not posted, or you don't see it when they're actually used. So that's why we need a whole year to look at revenues versus expenses and how it performed. And I need to communicate to you how much of that are type A meals, how much of that is à la carte. À la carte, I will tell you, in meeting with Whitson's today, is much bigger than I thought.
Much bigger.
Than I
Any
thought.
thought,
I
yeah.
don't know what, much bigger what? Much bigger
Dollar-wise,
expense.
dollar-wise,
Bringing
Ahead
in more
or
money?
behind?
Yeah.
more. It's a lot.
Allocation, how much is
How much, when we talk about total revenues, à la carte's a big piece.
That's not part of this report, right?
It's part of the total receipts, it's not part of the meals.
We pay extra.
They pay it,
They pay
right.
extra.
When you look at the first part of the report, I'm trying to communicate to you the type A meals. The bottom part of the report, I'm talking about total revenues and total expenses. When I tell you total revenues and total expenses, that includes à la carte. And when I say total revenues and total expenses, just the food service program, nothing to do with catering, nothing to do with before and after school program.
And how's the new equipment going in Fuller?
Good, we
Meadow?
need to get the steam tables going. We've run into some things there, but new equipment's going good. And then at some point, when we can catch our breath, I want to do some type of study on whether we can put a dishwasher in.
And how about the training of the staff with the new at Fuller Meadow?
Better than where we were,
Okay,
and we're still trying to move everything forward,
okay,
so.
great.
So when will we have total,
Just depending on when you meet, when we get that last invoice for June, and so you'll see the whole year. You'll have the 10 months, September to June.
So my other comment was about the survey. Did
Yes.
you guys see the survey that came out?
Yes.
From Whitson's? Or from, it's from us, but it's not.
The Whitson's.
Whitson disappointed with the questions in the survey because they felt very template-based. They didn't seem to the challenges that we've been discussing in our to us to sort of track. They just seemed very broad, and I was curious what would the information, how would it be useful? I feel like if you're going to survey people, we need to be able to use the data.
You want it where it reflects Middleton, the
Yes.
Middleton perspective,
Yes.
understand.
I think that was missing.
Understand. And Amy, I don't know how to answer your question.
Well,
I
it's
get
more
your
of a
point.
comment, but-
Okay, thank you. That makes it
I
easier.
can share a quick perspective on it, because I wanted to make sure same thing. You know, the survey originally, I think, was residing on the website. And, you know, Steve and I had a conversation, like, I don't think everybody's always just going to the website, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's when Steve and I had a conversation around, we should send it to people so they can, you know, click on it, whatever the case may be. I didn't click through it. I pretended I was a, you know, parent in Middleton and whatever the case may be. Because I wanted to make sure there was a comment box. And as you got towards the end, there was a comment box like, what's going well, what's not going well. So that, you know, I think it's probably feels template-y. This is my opinion. This isn't rooted in fact. I'd have to look into this. My thought was, is it template-y, for lack of a better word, because they're trying to nationally norm the data. You know what I mean? They're trying to use the same questions all across the different towns and communities in which they work, and that gives them the opportunity to see, like, how are we doing here compared to here. I was happy to see, like, a comment box, just because
Yeah.
gives people the opportunity to weigh in and say, here's my thinking on this, here's my thinking on that. I think when we see the data, that will tell us, was it a good survey or not? You know, were people able to articulate what their feelings were, good, bad, or indifferent?
Who's
Okay.
looking at the data and
Steve will be.
We'll get, we'll get a copy of it, and I'll be
Oh, yeah.
glad once,
all the comments too?
Oh,
right,
yeah.
so it's open till May 10th, so you'll get another Connect Ed message. I'm gonna send it, I have it programmed to go another day, and it will close May 10th, and then they'll tabulate and send it to me, and I'll be glad to give it to
Yeah.
the three committees.
Yeah.
Because it should break down by district and possibly by school, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that that's their survey, right?
It is.
So, but you'll get all the information?
Yes.
Or just what they want to promote for
No,
their
it's
business?
the survey, no, they'll
Yeah.
give, they should
We'll make
give us
sure
all
we
the
get it all.
information. Yeah. And the comments, though, Scott, that's really gonna be.
Not
the
that I'm
point.
concerned, but we won't, I mean, it could be a factor. We won't get the final results, like you said, till maybe July, August, but yet we'll vote
We
to
already did
approve
vote.
You
the
already did.
contract. Right,
You already did.
before we get that.
Yes, you've
So
already.
we really don't even know what's happened in 1 year. And we've
In terms
already-
of the financial piece of it.
We've already renewed it for.
Right.
I mean, I know we want to give it a shot, and give it, I mean, I would give it more time than a year anyway.
Sure.
But I would still like to see those results
Absolutely.
before, just
We
to
can
see
maybe-
if we're heading in the right direction.
And I think we can dig into that this summer. That's kind of a good summer meeting,
Yes.
you know, agenda topic when things are a bit lighter and see what kind of things, you know, we want to get back to Whitson's on it. There's some comments in there that we want to say to them, hey, it's very clear to us that people would like to see X. Our expectation is that we see X on the menus going into the fall.
Steve, you want to bring up the survey that was done PS, pre-Scott, and before pre-Whitson's, and compare the comments?
I'll have to dig that one out. It's been a while, so.
Yeah, but it's
That was very Middleton specific.
it was very Middleton
Yes.
specific, and we got a lot of
We had
feedback.
some great
And we
feedback.
surveyed the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, some of the kids wanted prime rib, but some of it was realistic. And maybe compare the two, and I think potentially one of the new members coming on is passionate about this, and maybe put another survey out and compare all three of them, a Middleton specific.
Yeah, or maybe we could create a less template-y one that is geared towards the kids. That the kids could do a survey. Because I think also some of the kids are really happy with what they're getting. So I think it'd be interesting to see how they feel about the crowds and about the temperature and, you know, if they eat what's on their plate or if they throw most of it out. I just, you know, I hate the idea of hearing one opinion. Like, it'd be good to get a bigger picture.
Okay, well, we may have to do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the most consistent thing I hear from the kids always is that it takes too long to get through.
Really? In which? Interesting. Okay.
How many?
Let's see how that emerges to the results.
Except for the day that James helped.
We were hustling.
James also served waffles one morning to the
I
town
think it
staff.
definitely varies we did.
Yes.
To 150 t-shirts.
Yes.
Yeah. Belgium's.
Belgium's.
Got 'em all out.
He
But
made
it,
them too. He didn't just serve.
No, I heard. Yeah, the hat and everything. He had the full chef hat, him and Jeff. Yeah, I heard.
Attaboy, James.
Oh.
Was it a bet?
I think
the
it was
food
a bit-
line definitely
exactly.
depends on what the lunch being served is. So I'd say it probably ranges from like 6 to 10 minutes depending on the meal. In terms of the whole line getting through.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think Yeah, but I don't think that would come through in the survey anyway, unless it was
No,
asked.
this is
Unless
not
it's
it.
asked, right?
They didn't ask about anything like that. This
And that
is
could
more
then
about
impact
quality.
how much food is being thrown away.
6 to
So
10
I
minutes
just think there's like
Yeah.
And
different
the whole
things.
lunch is
Roughly,
20 the whole
roughly.
lunch is
for a
20,
whole
right?
lunch group.
To make it through the line.
Yeah, so
doesn't seem
could you
that
just,
long, huh?
thinking outside the box, take one of the lunch aides and have him or her, what's that?
Stopwatch even.
No, I'm saying, instead of ringing up each kid individually, have that person take every other one, write the name down. I know this is John Smith, he got, milk and an apple, and then after the kids get through, let the lady bring it in.
But we
into
don't know where the
register.
backlog is. That's assuming that's where the backlog is.
Yeah, I'm sorry, assuming that's the
Right.
register.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it the registered backlog?
I don't know if I can definitively say what part is it. I mean, I think some part is that certain meals attract a ton of buyers, so there's just a far greater volume in the line that day. So that's some of the longer ones that it's just, and some of the meals are a little more intricate in terms of all the little things that get mixed together before it gets put on the tray. Like chicken nuggets is pretty fast. You scoop them, you give them, they go.
Yeah.
Like putting together some like the tacos and burritos and stuff like that. It's extra steps of what kind of sauce do you want and all that kind of stuff. So it's a little dependent on that. I suppose at times it definitely could be the register. I guess overall what I'm saying is I don't think it's any one thing. I think there's various factors that are always influencing it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think if there's any way when you get the data, if it doesn't feel like it's representing Middleton, it
Sure.
just feels a little broader.
Yep.
Maybe we could
Do
do our
something
own.
local.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes
Okay.
sense.
That was my comment.
Okay.
Well, good, yes, sir. That's good.
Anything on closeout or?
Yeah,
you're all
just
set?
touch on it in my financial report, what we talked about. that
Okay,
We'll come back with June.
okay. Reports of principal. Hi, Diane.
Hi,
How was your panel?
it was great.
Good. What was it, just quick overview? Were there multiple principals, or?
Yeah, there was an assistant principal, a couple of high school principals, and a middle school principal.
Nice.
And so Merrimack College asked, because I am adjunct there, asked me to come and speak to prospective teachers, asking how to get an interview, how to get a job. So it was like almost like the do's and don'ts of how to get a teaching position.
Nice.
So it's very interesting.
Thanks for sharing
And it
that
was
with-
nice to see several students that I had in a class in the fall, which was great. And then our Merrimack intern, who actually is here, was there as well. So it was just nice to see them and be there with them.
You guys want to roll into updates?
You want to go first? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. Are we doing just a full update in terms of events or just personnel?
Personnel, enrollment, general updates?
We had the art show at the Flint Library for all those students who had different pieces of work that were up there. I think it was the highest or the most amount of artists and piece of work represented in that showing. So it was excellent. It was very well attended by parents and by students. They're very proud to be there. The parents are, the turnout's really, really supportive for both the art teachers and the students as well. So it was a wonderful show, and the art looked fantastic. We discussed the Masco senior visit, which was a great success and a very repeatable formula. Fourth grade did their biography museum show, which is something that they've traditionally done each year in the spring. And that was, again, very well attended. And then we had to cancel back in the winter. We had some inclement weather and couldn't do our northern exposure, which is when the Iditarod dogs come and visit Hal Manning. Even though they're built for the outdoor weather, it just wasn't the right weather that day. They did come this spring. We had a rainy day, but they still were able to get outside and do the full presentation, which was really exciting. And fourth grade does some fun things with building that into their curriculum too. So even when we're doing Read Across America month, they set up the whole Iditarod race course challenge on a giant bulletin board, and when the kids read X amount of pages, it moves the dog X amount of miles, and the classes get to race each other through Read Across America. So there's really nice cross-curriculum connections that make it a lot of fun. We had a Geo Day, which was Korean porridge with pumpkin inside. April, you celebrate autism awareness, and you do that by wearing blue, but we also, this year, we wore blue, but we also brought in a presenter, and we did a assembly for grades 3 and 4 and an assembly for grades 5 and 6 on it, which was really well received, and I got to attend half of the 3rd and 4th grade assembly, but the entirety of the 5th and 6th grade one. The questions that the 5th and 6th graders were asking the presenter were incredibly insightful and thoughtful, even beyond where I thought they were going to get to in terms of their thinking about autism and which students and adults who have autism are kind of how they're perceiving the world around them. So that was really nice this year. And then MCAS update, we are like right in the midst of it. MCAS Alt is complete. MCAS English Language Arts is complete. MCAS Math is now underway, and MCAS Science, Technology, and Engineering is scheduled for later May. That's where we're at.
And during the test, as
Yes.
kids finish, they have to stay and read in place until, like, for 3 hours, is that right?
Well, the testing block that we give them is 3 hours.
Okay.
Technically, a kid could have the whole day if they wanted it.
Yes. Right.
But we just say, like, based on, the state gives us recommendations, a reading test should take this long, a math test should take long, so we take their recommendations. Sometimes we usually, knowing our students, add a little more time on that because they tend to use their time pretty well. So we block out that each grade level gets a 3-hour chunk uninterrupted by a special or a lunch or a recess or anything, that it's just a testing block. So if based on state regulations of what kids are allowed to do, if they finish before the kids in their room are done, the one option that's given to them if they're done checking over their work is they can read. That doesn't mean it's the entirety of the 3 hours, because if the whole class finishes, then that class moves on to something new. But for as long as there are testers in your environment, that's the state regulation. Yeah.
Personnel enrollment?
Yes, enrollment's fairly consistent. Enrollment's, it's been fairly consistent since the last report. And then from personnel, Judy Church, 4th grade teacher, for medical reasons, is not able to return to the classroom right now. And George O'Brien, who has been a Tri-Town sub this year, has also been a 4th grade teacher on multiple different stints throughout her career in different states, has been taken over that classroom and is doing a very, very nice job.
Thank you.
So in April, we had Tasty Tuesday, where the students sampled fruit salsa, which was great. Right now, the whole school is doing electric safety with Ray Gooley, and Middleton Electric came on Monday and chatted with 2nd grade and let them take a look at the electrical truck, and that's a big deal. And now we have a huge picture of all the 2nd graders with the Middleton Electric truck, which is kind of a rite of passage when you come to 2nd grade at Fuller Meadow School. Grade 1 also had their 1st grade field trip to the Museum of Science, which is great. Ms. Nasser right now is having Art in the Dark for the whole school, which is always a very fun event for students. They are to wear their white clothing, and then they go into the classroom and are neon in there with the because Ms. Nasser has a black light, which is great. We do have a lot of events coming up between now and the end of the school year, but just to highlight, the STEAM Carnival is on May 30th, so be there or be square, because it sounds like it's going to be a great event, and which we are helping to, the school committee is helping to fund that. And we also have family cooking night, and I'm going to make a plea for my friend Amanda Libby, who is begging people to help cook with kids. So if you want to join me, are you cooking with kids? Anyway, if you want to join me cooking with kids on May 17th, email Mrs. Libby at alibby@middletonps.org, because we need 6 more adults to help cook at family cooking night on May 21st.
May
It's like
17th or
1%.
21st?
I'm sorry.
Which one?
I'm sorry, not May. May 17th. Sorry.
17th,
May
okay.
17th. Sorry.
That's only 1% of the viewing public, so
Right.
we're, just need
Yes.
1% of the
You know
people
what?
that are watching tonight.
Great point.
And I don't have a partner yet, so if you play your cards right, you could be cooking with me.
What are you cooking?
I don't know.
What are we
Okay.
cooking?
Said we cooking, that sounds like you're.
You're
Ready
in,
to-
you're in
Fred?
school.
I might be there anyway, so
All right, let's put Freddie down.
You only need 5.
let's not rush.
It's a good job for the man of the
Something might come
people.
up.
You can't ditch me. You can't like come and pretend and then leave. Like I need help.
You could greet everyone, Fred.
I am a good greeter.
Especially the man of the people should be there.
The only other personnel, I don't know, I don't think that I actually announced this, and he has been here for some time. We do have a new night custodian, Jay Sala. He is working 2:30 to 10:30 each night. So you may see a new night custodian. He's so far is working out splendidly. He is wonderful, and wonderful new addition to the custodial staff. And we actually have received 4 new students in April. 1 in kindergarten, 1 in grade 1, and 2 in grade 2. So,
Wow. That was a great article in the paper.
above the fold, Mrs. Libby.
Yeah, that was great.
Exactly.
Saw
That was great.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was just we sort of went back and forth like, here's a draft, you look at it. No, here's a draft, you look at it. So, and then I emailed Wendell and she said, I've been sick, so this would be a great, she hasn't been able to be in the town and get pictures and things like that. This would be a great thing for the front page. And I said, oh my gosh, I know it's great, but I didn't know that it was necessarily front page worthy, but apparently it was.
It was.
Some great pictures.
Yeah.
So,
And I think at the June meeting, we'll have Diane talk a little bit about, we were able to send, you've heard us talk about the Design 39 school out in San Diego. And so we've had two groups from Boxford go. That was part of the Boxford School Committee's budget planning for this school year. We had the third group just go, and was hoping to have some representation from the other towns as well, from Middleton and from Topsfield as well. So we were able to send Diane through her professional development program out to the school with some Boxford folks as well, and a team member from Topsfield. And I think by all accounts, it was a outstanding trip.
yes, it was, yeah, I'm still sort of reeling from all the information, and I have a folder on my computer that I just dumped all the pictures, and I still need to go back and reflect, but it was great. It was really incredible, and I've started sort of talking to staff about it, but I don't want to get ahead of myself either, because I really want to wrap my head around it all before. But I have started to talk to my teachers about, the word for that weekend for me was audacious, and being audacious, and that's really what I'm challenging them to do, is just to think really audaciously, be bold, and think about what they're doing, and so it was very exciting.
Maybe
Very
at the
exciting.
June meeting, we
I'd
could
be
do a
happy to.
little,
Yeah.
put some slides together
Absolutely.
and share with the committee.
Be happy to do that.
That work?
Great.
That'd be good.
Thank you. Okay. So new business?
For new business, so first off, Crisis Go, if you just take a peek, you've heard me talk about this the past couple of meetings, there's a PDF in there. Crisis Go is a platform that we have joined hands with Masco on, so this will be a K-12 comprehensive safety platform. It connects people, schools, and technology to ensure everyone has what they need to be safer. It's available on every computer and mobile device to make safety accessible no matter what screen you're looking at. I've listed there on this one-pager an overview of what Crisis Go will provide for us as a platform. There's two-way communication, dashboard, rostrum reunification, automatic escalation in terms of escalating a situation, fast alerts, maps and documents, panic button, tips and incident reports, and so on and so forth. And so this platform is going to really become the one-stop shop for us to keep track of our training and our drills. It will allow teachers incident access if they see something that's happening that shouldn't be happening and they need help or assistance. They'll literally have on their phone a panic button kind of feature in which that will indicate to the principal and anyone else we put on there that help is needed based upon a situation that may be unfolding. This in combination, and again, if we think back to Mark and the work that's been done with safety over the past half a dozen years, it's really coming to a culmination now in a lot of ways. With the camera system that we're almost finishing installing here. Actually, I was able to access that camera system just the other day. We had an incident at Masco that may or may not have involved one of our Middleton schools, and it did not end up involving one of our Middleton schools, but because of the camera system that we had put in, I was able to quickly take a look at some video, compare it to some of the video from Masco, and we're able to quickly deduce that there was not a situation that from Masco over to here. And so that is going to be a huge help. This Crisis Go, which we will be working with our staff on and working with our leadership team on, is going to really be, I think, very helpful for us in terms of the real-time communication during crisis situations. So what we want to do and what I want to share with the committee tonight is that we want to proceed with this year. There's a lot of technical setup on the back end that we need to do. And so, using a Steve Greenberg term, if it is the will of the committee, in terms of a vote, so the cost of Crisis Go, and we would look to go with tailings or something along these lines to help fund this year. It'll be about $725 per school. And that will be, around $14.50 per town, basically. So it'll be $14.50 in Tupsfield, $14.50 in Boxford, $14.50 in Middleton, and then $725 per school. In the ensuing years, it will cost $500 per school. But we want the year to start sort of like now, May 1 to May 1, so to speak, as opposed to July 1 to July 1, to give us the opportunity to do some of the technical setup that we need to do, get some training done, and so on and so forth. And so I bring it to the committee tonight, if it's something that you would be willing to support, in terms of us paying that bill for $725 per school in order to proceed with the obtaining this product and begin the technical setup of the product as well.
So I would just piggyback on what he said is this particular app, we've had really good feedback. Part of the process was to do some research with other schools and districts all over the country, mostly the Northeast, so that was really informative. They brought a lot of information back, and every bit of feedback we got was really, really positive.
Mm-hmm.
And,
So you support this as well?
yeah, absolutely. The impressive, to me, the impressive part is the roster, roster and reunification part of it. So if something happened here and half the students went out the back door and half went out the front, and the students were with the not their normal teacher, this app, the teacher that has those kids can check those kids in even though they're not part of that class. And really, so if Mrs. So-and-so is missing 6 kids, but this teacher may have them, they can see all of them real time on their phones, or other phones as needed. Really impressive.
So is the cost for like just the app and monitoring maybe?
Yeah, usage of the product, Freddie, and then the
It's
initial.
not new devices or anything?
No, it's just literally, it's like purchasing an app, for lack of a better way to say it. And it allows us the license to put on as many, devices as we need. The $725 this year versus the $500 next year per school is just that initial setup, just to kind of get us technically, established and set up and get it to talk to our Active Directory with our email and all of the, back of the room technology stuff that, needs to happen. So that's why the cost is a little bit higher in year 1.
So in terms of the app, do the teachers have private cell phones, or do the schools?
It'll work on any device.
I know,
So it'll
but
work on an iPad, work on a personal computer. It would work, if a teacher wanted to put it on their personal phone, they could absolutely do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
But if they wanted to keep their personal separate,
absolutely can.
then it would go on the
School device.
school devices.
Yep, and it would work on a laptop, a desktop, an iPad, Chromebook, you name it.
It's pretty fast acting, and if they click it, they have like 5 seconds or something
Yeah.
to say, "Are you sure you want to?"
Call the cavalry?
Yeah, you sure you want to do this? You
Right.
say, yeah, and it starts sirens and it sends messages. You can pre-program, you can set it up to just principal level, superintendent level, police, fire, any or all of the above, and really impressive.
And there's an internal sort of texting feature that, again, unthinkable situations where, those things, as we're seeing across the country, people can communicate quietly, right? There's activity out my door right now. So now you're communicating like, okay, if I'm in room 6 and I'm in room 20 is knowing like, okay, I know where the threat is. We are heading for the hills, right? And we'll find you later. We've talked about that with our ALICE training in terms of the idea of always, it's just situational awareness and your proximity to the threat. And if you are far from the threat, get away as far away as you can. If you are closer to the threat, then you need to go into an enhanced lockdown, as we've talked about in the past. And if the threat is upon you, then you need to take, any type of action to engage in at that point. So,
Masco moving forward with this?
yeah, that's what I'm most excited about, Mark. I mean, this has really been another, if we think back to that sort of hands joined sort of analogy. Masco had Cops Sync, I believe, or some other product, and their, the idea of it being a K-12 product, it just makes a whole lot of sense. So.
Yeah, it can alert them too. It can alert Masco that this is going on here
Correct.
or there.
Great. So if there's no other questions, if someone wants to make the motion,
So moved.
Second.
Madam Chairperson.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sounds great.
A fitting so moved for your
You were
final
right
so
with the
moved, Mark.
motion, Courtney. Okay.
Thank
You
you.
want the amounts in there too?
Yes, right, you want the
Yeah.
amounts in the motion?
Yep.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you for that. And then the other
That's
one,
exciting.
Yeah.
for the Alice training, I may wait on this action until June, only because I was talking with Antoinette about this today. This may be a July 1, as opposed to a start now. So the Alice training, as you may recall, we've completely trained our staff in the Alice methodology in terms of situational awareness. They offer, Diane was the one who first brought this to me, they offer sort of a video online program for recertification for staff. So, you know, the whole machine that is trying to get someone Alice trained. This allows us to get folks Alice trained who are new, who are coming on board. It takes you through scenarios online. It takes you through videos online. It's a very, very cost-effective way to get folks trained. This would be about $864 per school per year, and it would just allow us to, every single year, just keep it on the forefront, you know, in terms of the Alice training. And so I just need to circle back to Antoinette. If it is something that we want to move on, you know, in early June to get a head start on, I'll bring it to the June meeting, see if the committee is willing to support that in terms of getting that up and running. If it becomes a July 1 thing, we'll just wait until our you know, summer meetings in order to approve.
And that was brought up in the Tri-Town meeting, right?
Yes.
So I think one of the questions that I had was if either aides or substitutes
Yes.
could also.
Yes, I did ask
you find
that.
out
It
about
can be.
that? They can,
Yeah,
oh, that's
we
great.
put anybody on it
That's
that we
great.
want to have on it.
So that pre-training is not a requirement.
Not a requirement.
Because I thought that point was very on point in terms of
Absolutely.
substitutes and such. There's just a lot of that happens.
Absolutely.
Right, we want them to be prepared.
You want them connected.
And if we can expose them to, you know, the methodology, that's just going to benefit everybody.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was a good news piece. So we'll hold on
Okay.
on an action for that. And then the third item under new business is the school committee. As you know, tonight is Amy's last official meeting on the school committee. However, Amy is still on the negotiating committee, if that's the desire of the school committee. And if it is for Amy to continue in that sort of consulting role as a member of the negotiating committee and making sure that representing the school committee and taking all her knowledge of being on the negotiating committee up until now. This is not unheard of. This is how we've done it in the past. It's sort of extending Amy's time on the negotiating committee. If that's the will of this board, we would need a vote for that. If it is not the will of the board, we would need someone else to step up and enter into the negotiation committee with our Unit A staff currently. So I put that to the board for discussion in terms of extending Amy's role on the negotiating committee until that process is done.
So moved.
Second.
That was easy. Okay, no
You okay
discussion
with it,
needed.
Christie?
I'm very okay with that.
I'm fine with
Thank
it.
you
I'm
for-
happy to
yes,
stay on.
thank you for doing it.
Yes.
You had a girl, Amy.
Oh, look at that.
Yep. They're coming out everywhere tonight.
All right.
Yep.
Any
You may even get one
correspondence?
tonight.
I think we need an all in favor, don't we? Did we do an all in favor?
All in
Oh,
favor?
aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Good, that's okay.
All right. Any
I
correspondence?
don't believe so. I can look while we're doing any others.
Any other? No?
No correspondence.
Okay. Do we have any bills and payrolls
You're right behind, right there.
right behind me? Sorry. All right, Mark.
Thank you.
Actually, I take that back. We don't have to
We don't
have
have
you
to read
read
them
it
anymore,
anymore, unless you really want to.
I think you should.
I'll be okay if I don't have.
For old
Okay.
time's sake.
So can I have a motion to enter into consent agenda in order to approve our bills and payrolls as advertised, as stated, only to then exit to go into executive session,
With
right?
the sole purpose
With
of
the
returning to regular for adjourning.
Right, with the sole purpose to return to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, now this would be a roll call.
Aye, Mark Ward.
Aye, Christie Carroll.
Aye, Frank Lab.
Aye, Amy Karas. Okay. So we are all set for the moment,
We
right?
approved the bills, you
We
said, right?
approved the bills, and we're
Okay.
gonna enter into
Perfect.
executive session.
That's good.
Come out to adjourn. Okay.
Very good.
Trying, Fred.
Thank you.